You are going to be shocked at how much better your videos sound after learning these audio tips. Hey, I'm Dylan and welcome to my channel where we cut out the fluff and jump straight into it. Tip number 1 is to utilize this bad boy right here. It is a tool that you can find built into Final Cut for free in your effects browser. And there are so many great ways that you can use it to make your audio sound better. Let's first start with a problem that I hear all the time when watching videos. When the music in the background makes it so hard to hear your voice or your talent's voice. My channel, which is geared towards helping you improve your craft in filmmaking and in Final Cut. This clashing of a person's voice and the music can easily be adjusted by using the channel EQ. Apply the effect to both the music track and the dialogue. Enter the inspector window and hit this little button here on both the music and the voice channel EQ and put the windows side by side. Then press this analyzer button on both. If I press play, you'll see that this shows the waveform of both the music and the dialogue. What you're going to want to do is take one or two of these frequency bells on the music channel EQ and lower it in the same area where the voice audio is high. So for example, my voice mainly plays out in this frequency region, as do most voices. So you'll go to the music channel EQ and lower this same range. The music will still play at a good volume, but the frequencies that normally clash with our voice are now lowered. Hey guys, I'm Dylan and welcome to my channel, which is geared towards helping you improve your craft in filmmaking and in Final Cut Pro. This lets our voice take the spotlight while still allowing the music to play at a good volume for a nice and full sound environment. And because this would be annoying to have to do every time you make a video, make sure your music is selected, hit Save Effects Preset, name it Music Channel EQ Adjustment, put it in the folder you'd like, and then hit Save. Then the next time you create a new video, all you have to do is go to your effects browser, find that preset, and double-click to apply, so the adjustments that we just made are instantly set up on your new video's music track. I could stop here with this channel EQ tip, but here on the channel I try and give the most amount of useful information as quick as possible. If you appreciate this style of video, please spam me likey in the comments. But the other thing that channel EQ is the jam for is making your voice audio sound better in general. A short breakdown for you. The human voice generally doesn't make noise in this frequency range. Usually it's annoying sounds like the hum of an air conditioner and stuff like that. So we can apply a high pass filter, also known as a low cut filter, by hitting this and extending out to about 60 to 80 hertz. So now any of those annoying hums and drones will be removed from your audio. Raising around 200 hertz will add a bit more bass to your voice, which is useful if you don't have much bass in your voice in general, or if you have a tinny sounding mic. Lowering around this region makes your voice sound nasally. However, it can be useful if your microphone produces a very bassy sound. So for example, my voiceover microphone, the one you're hearing right now, already adds a lot of bass. And because I have it so close to my mouth, that makes the bassy sound even more pronounced. So I usually cut this frequency range a bit. But with a shot like this and with this shotgun mic, I usually boost this frequency. Raising around 1000 to 2000 kilohertz can make your voice audio sound a bit nasally, so I'd avoid boosting in this region. However, depending on your voice and your microphone, you might find that lowering a few decibels in this 1 to 2000 region will make your voice audio sound a lot better. It keeps the pleasing warm frequencies in your voice and the higher, more intelligible frequencies intact, and it removes some of those nasally, harsh sounding qualities. Hey guys, I'm Dylan and welcome to my channel, which is geared towards helping you improve your craft in filmmaking and in Final Cut Pro. Today we're going to learn about keyboard. The 5 to 10,000 region is the sibilant range for voices. Making a boost here will make your voice audio sound brighter, which is useful for more muffled recordings. However, it also has the ability to make the T's and S's in your words sound harsh. So if you have a voice where those T and S sounds pop out a lot, you'll find that cutting this frequency tends to help your voice sound smoother and less harsh on the top end. I have a very sibilant voice, so I usually make another wide cut around this 6,000 kilohertz range. I'm Dylan, and welcome to my channel, which is geared towards helping you improve your craft in filmmaking and in Final Cut Pro. Today, we're gonna learn about keyboard shortcuts. Now, I wanna mention again that what you do to your voice with your channel EQ is all gonna depend on the frequencies in your voice and your microphone. So just play around with this one on your audio, but make sure to cut or boost with a wider filter, or else your voice audio might sound a bit odd. And as always, you can hit that Save Effects preset button at the bottom of your inspector window once you have everything set up to save you time in future videos. When you're recording, your audio may get quieter and louder for a number of reasons. Maybe you moved away from the mic, maybe you just started talking quieter at some point in the recording. This is where the compressor comes in handy. This built-in effect is the best way to balance out your audio levels so you have a consistent volume throughout. Now there's a lot to this tool, but for time's sake, I'm just gonna run through how you can set it up to level everything out. What I usually do for my voice audio is set my attack to about 5 milliseconds, my release to around 12 milliseconds, my ratio to either 2:1 or 3:1, and then I play out the audio. This little needle should only be moving up anywhere from about 3 to 6 decibels. Obviously, we're well past that point here. So you'll just adjust the threshold until the needle peaks in that 3 to 6 range. You can really see what the compressor does as I adjust this. Notice how when I increase the threshold, the parts of my waveform that are very quiet are increasing in volume and getting closer to the loudness of the rest of the audio. And the very loudest parts are staying at a good level. So everything is balancing out a bit more. So once you find a threshold level where you're getting that needle to peak around 3 to 6, you can stop adjusting. Something to note is that if you find that your audio just wasn't recorded that loud in general, you can adjust the input gain by pushing up or down on this dial here. But if you're doing this after all the adjustments we just went over, you will need to adjust your threshold again so the needle bounces in that 3 to 6 range. And if you want to put a max volume on your audio, you can head over to the limiter and turn this on. This basically lets you put a ceiling on how loud your volume will get. So I like to have my voice go no louder than -3 decibels. This is just my personal preference. So I adjust the threshold to -3. And you'll notice that now your audio, which was once spiking up occasionally to maybe 0 decibels or higher, is now capping out at -3 decibels. So with just that one tool, we made the quietest parts of the audio louder, brought the loudest parts of the audio down, and we gave the audio a limit so it doesn't get too loud. Now, if you want to apply both the channel EQ and the compressor to your audio, I would suggest applying the compressor first and then add the channel EQ. But maybe having a consistent audio volume is most important for you. So if that's the case, then apply the compressor after channel EQ. The next tip is to apply some sort of background noise reduction. Sometimes things can be going on in your background that make your audio sound like trash. We have a bunch of wind outside today, and also I'm playing music on my phone. Using something like voice isolation can take out that noise for the most part and make your audio sound so much better. You can find voice isolation in your audio inspector after clicking your clip. Adjust it to the point where the background noise is minimized while keeping your voice audio still intelligible and sounding good. Voice isolation works surprisingly well if noise is happening in the background of your recording, but I find that it just doesn't cut it with removing that echoey reverb sound from recording in certain rooms. A plugin that I like that takes out that echo really well is called D-Room from FX Factory. This is not sponsored in any way. I just use the plugin for nearly all of my voice recordings. So here's what this recording sounds like without D-Room. There's a lot of echo in this room, especially if you are listening to this not on a phone. And here it is with D-Room applied. It cleans it up quite a lot, removes the echo, and is pretty easy to use. There's a dial where you can adjust sensitivity and a dial for how much you want the echo to be reduced. And then you can save different presets if you film in different sounding rooms and stuff. The next tip will help make your voice audio sound not so distracting. I highly recommend selecting your clip, going to the audio inspector, and changing the audio signal of your dialogue from stereo to mono or dual mono. This makes it so the listener receives a consistent and focused sounding voice. Using stereo for voice can be distracting because it's like having the voice go on a journey around your ears, and that can make it harder to understand and focus on what's being said. So if you happen to move from the left of your mic to the right while recording, that'll be heard in the person's headphones if you use a stereo signal. And that can actually be the thing that causes the person to stop watching your video, whether they know it or not. Switching to mono simplifies the sound. Now, a little bonus tip is to do this for sound effects. Not for all types of videos. For example, you wouldn't do this if you were editing a film, but I find that for most types of videos, changing different sound effects like transition sound effects, pop-up sound effects, etc. to mono results in a sound that fits better in the edit. This next tip will make your change in audio from shot 1 to shot 2 as smooth as... Hey, ChatGPT, what is a funny example of something that's smooth?
A penguin, rocking sunglasses, smoothly glides across the icy dance floor, impressing fellow penguins with its cool moves. Maybe it could even teach seals to dance.
You don't want popping to happen in your audio, and this can happen when your audio changes from one clip to the next very abruptly. So how you can go about preventing this is by selecting the two clips and press the keyboard shortcut Option-T to instantly make audio crossfades on those two clips. This gradually drops down the volume of the audio at the end of the first clip and gradually raises the audio on the next clip. You can also go in and extend the fades, as well as change how gradually the audio is adjusted by right-clicking these little points and selecting one of the options. If you want a smoother flow of audio though, you could press the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-S on your clips to expand the audio from the video, and trim either the end of shot 1 or the beginning of shot 2 by dragging the end of your clip in, or by pressing period or comma on your keyboard to trim by only a few frames. This creates that smooth change in audio so you don't get any popping noises, and it keeps a good consistent flow of volume. These tips are useful and all, but the audio tips in this video allowed me to make my films so much more cinematic. It is an older video of mine, but it is still very useful. And subscribe to the channel. I post videos every week with useful tips like these. Have a great day, guys.